Hey guys, welcome to this new video on our channel, and today we'll discuss why slow playing pocket aces will cost you a lot of money pre-flop and post-flop. So let's get into the hand. So as you can see, we have pocket aces in a 1-2 game, so $1 and $2 blinds. It's a throwing table, and we have 300 big blinds effective. This hand was posted in our private Discord group. If you're interested in getting better at live poker, make sure to check out our Mastering Live cash course on Raise Your Edge. You can find the link in the show notes. So, as you can see, typical 1-2 game, under the gun limps. And with pocket aces, obviously, we should always bump it up. Please do not limp raise aces in under the gun in MP on the cutoff. Just go ahead and ISO to standard sizing. Don't make it 30, 40, 50 bucks. There's just no reason. What happens is you will see everyone folding and you win $5. This is not our plan. Our plan is to raise to a standard sizing. So when we typically raise to $10 or we isolate to $10, we should also ISO to $10 with pocket aces, unless they're maniacs behind or we have some reads on our opponents. But given not a maniac is behind, we just go ahead and open or ISO to $10. Yeah, the regular behind, cold calls, small blind calls, big blind calls, and the limper folds. As you can see, typical 1-2 game, limper gets an awesome price and folds for $8 more, but we are still going 4-way to the flop. And flop is not that bad. It's king queen 8 with 2 spades, so we have an overpair with the backdoor flush draw as well. And small blind goes ahead and leads $15 into 42, so under half pot. We have no read so far on the small blind. Big blind gets out of the way, and the question is, should we raise or should we call, and which hand do we assign the small blind? And what you typically see in live games is that when someone donk bets into multiple opponents in a typical 1-2 game, it's definitely a sign of weakness. So he will have a queen, a middling king, a hand that just want to go cheap to the turn, so maybe a hand like ace-10, spades maybe ace-jack, but yeah, I think most of the time it's really a weak king, maybe even a queen, or a somewhat okay-ish draw, and that's basically about it. I don't expect the small blind to lead 8x into 3 other opponents, or a hand like 9s. I think those hands are always in his check fold range. And all those hands have, of course, a lot of equity. If he has queen 10, right, he still has a lot of outs. If he has a hand like king 9 suited, he still has a lot of outs. And when he has spades or jack 10, he has even more outs. And we definitely don't want him to draw so cheap. Plus, when we call, the ABC regular behind also gets an insanely good price on his call. So it's really hard for the ABC regular to make a mistake. And it's also hard for the small blind to make a mistake. And the thing is, we have so many hands we can call here, right? We have all the gut shots, we have all the straight draws, we have all the flush draws. And of course, with most of those hands, I would go ahead and just call. But with the strongest hands that we can have here, so a hand like king queen or queens or ace king or pocket aces, I would always go ahead and raise. Of course, pocket aces is even better than ace king, because with pocket aces, we don't block king x, because when we have ace king in our hand, it's just less likely that our opponent also has a king in his hand, because less kings are remaining in the deck. This is a problem. That's why pocket aces is even a better raise. But even with ace king, I would go ahead, because still enough king x and draws are available in the deck. And it's important here that villain leads under half pot. When he leads quite big, he is a solid regular, he leads multi-way into 3 other opponents. This line is actually quite strong. So when he leads something like 40 on the flop or 35, raising is definitely out of the question. Then I would definitely go ahead and raise a bit more polarized. Then a hand like aces is perfect to call. But against a very small sizing that indicates that villain has a lot of middling and weak hands or draws, we definitely want to punish him and extract a lot of value out of his hand. And as you can see, Hero decided to just flat call the 15 bucks. And of course, as I mentioned, the ABC regular gets an awesome price on his call, so you can basically call every draw. And now the fun starts. He bumps it up to 65 bucks. Small blind gets out of the way, and the action is on us. And this is a really shitty spot, because we underwrapped our hand. Because our opponent probably expects us to raise with a strong hand as aces, king, queen, queens, right? We would always raise those hands. So our hand looks way more like a weak king, a queen, a draw. So a range that we also assign the small blind. And given all those facts, I'm not in love with the spot, but I still see villain have some spades, some jack tens, so folding is out of the question. So he makes a call. I think his value range is pretty clear. Pocket eights and king queen. That's probably about it. I don't think he's raising a hand like king jack on the flop. You never ever see plays like this from a typical regular in a 1-2 game, I'd say. And yeah, turn is another king. I would say this is not a bad card because it makes king queen less likely. We check, and villain checks back. I don't think we can immediately say that villain has a really weak hand or a really strong hand, because even when he filled up on the turn, so he has king queen or he has pocket eights, he can definitely go ahead and check, because now he has a full house, so he just wants us to improve. Yeah, now river is a 4 in spades. The question is, should we block bet, should we value bet big, should we check call, or should we check fold? What would be your play on this 4 in spades on the river? I really hope you don't say we should check call on a run out like this, because which hands do we really beat if he bets? I think value betting is out of the question, because against which hand do you want to value bet? I can't find a single hand that is calling a river bet, and I mean I can find some hands, but we don't beat any of those. This is a problem. So checking is definitely correct. And then villain goes ahead and bets. Bets more than pot. So he's betting 200 into 187. So a really, really, really hefty bet. And the fun thing is, most of the time when someone overbets or bets pot on the river in those games, they realize this is the last street. There's not another street that they can extract value on. So they just look at the pot size and bet really, really big, because they really want to extract as much as they can, because they have such a strong hand. And when we think about potential bluffs, he can have jack 10. 10-9 would be pretty ambitious. We block hands like ace 10, ace jack, but those hands also through it with some frequency, probably pre-flop, but still not that likely that those hands raise on the flop. It's way more likely that he raises spades, sometimes jack 10. I don't expect the regular to call a hand like jack 10 offsuit on the cutoff. So it's only jack 10 suited, and even jack 10 suited he should 3-bet with some frequency pre-flop. So it's probably not even 4 combinations of those. And this means his range is insanely strong on the river, because he still has a king queens. I think he has most king queens. Probably 3-betting some, depending on how light he is 3-betting pre-flop. Maybe he's also calling pure with king queen offsuit and suited pre-flop. We don't know how this opponent was playing. He can still have pocket eights, and he can definitely have all the spades, and this is the biggest problem. I think when the river is not a spade, this is a way closer decision, and we can definitely argue for a call. But given that also the flush got there, I mean, yes, we have the ace and spade. This is something we could consider here, but yeah, he can still have all the other flushes, hands like 8-9, 10-9, jack 10, stuff like this in spades, and we don't beat any of those. And that's the reason why we should just go ahead and fold, even when our opponent bets 110, 120 on the river. Even then I would just go ahead and fold, because I can't find any bluffs besides jack 10. So make sure you break down the hand all the time. So what happened pre-flop, what happened on the flop, on the turn, on the river. Always try to assign a realistic range to your opponent and don't think on the river, well, I have a middling type hand, I have underwrapped my hand, I should definitely bluff catch. Make sure to think about how those games play. So which hand is my opponent usually raising on the flop, which hands is he checking on the turn and overbetting or betting pot with on the river. And then you should come to the conclusion that villain's betting range is insanely strong on the river and we should go ahead and make this fold. And the problem was really on the flop, because when we change our play, so let's say we raise flop, so we make it 50 or 60, and then the ABC regular goes ahead and bumps it up to 150. This would be a whole other scenario, right? And now we are pretty sure that the regular behind has a way stronger hand than we do, and we could definitely find a fold with pocket aces. But given that we only called, we have no clue how strong the hand from the ABC regular really is, because we underwrapped our hand so much. And we also gave the regular such an amazing price, because we just called the bet from the small blind. So make sure to play more aggressive with aces, think about how the player pool is playing, and assign your opponent the correct range. And in those games, people love to bluff catch, people love to hero call for stacks. Even when villain has a middling king hand like king 9, king 10, and turn and river are bricks, you probably stack your opponent way more often than you think. So raise light enough, value bet light enough. And yeah, I hope this lesson was helpful. I wish you best of luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.